Howdy folks, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay today. So, I wanted to share a story with you. It happened several months ago at this point. The ridiculously short lead up to this story is my wife was deciding to give a 2-week quit notice at her job, and the type of notice she was giving was one of those, hey boss, in 2 weeks you'll notice that I ain't been here in 2 weeks kind of 2-week quit notices. Management had, at this particular job, they had screwed her over during a very separate tenure at this location, and she was getting screwed over again, and so she was kind of done with it. And on top of that, they were breaking labor law in overtime and things like that due to the worker shortage. So she quit and found other employment. Well, anyway, where this story gets entertaining to me is the day that she quit, she had a company truck that had to be turned in. So the place of employment at the time was fairly close to where I work at. So I followed her up to, good golly, all that fury for nothing. Okay. So I followed her up to the office where her company was based out of. She dropped her truck off, hit the key, left a note, got in my car. I went on to work, and then that afternoon she came by and picked me up in my car. So she was in possession of my car for a whole day, and I think this was like start of the work week. Now, one thing you've got to understand, one rule of thumb is whenever I'm not going to work, I'm armed. Whenever I'm not at work, I'm armed. So, we're going home, and we had found out about a bad accident on the main road that I normally took to get home. So, I had to come up with another route to get home. And I thought, well, surely to goodness, there's a couple 2-laners that I know about, and they funneled into some main roads, and it was just a nightmare, like traffic dead stop for 10 minutes kind of stuff. Well, while we were getting up to it, I'm driving down this 2-lane road, and there's this person that is moving their house, by the looks of it, or hauling off a load of stuff to a storage unit. I couldn't really tell, but had a trailer, SUV to tow it with, all that stuff, and they were driving like they were drunk. All over the road, on a 2-lane road, halfway into oncoming traffic kind of stuff. Well, I'm driving behind this person, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll hang back a little bit, give them a little bit of extra breathing room, just in case they hit something. I've got some stopping distance, okay. Well, I see a car pop up in the oncoming lane that this car's heading straight for, and so I get on the brakes aggressively enough that I can guarantee I'm going to stop in time. Put it that way. And the guy behind me, and bear in mind, I watch a lot of stuff while I'm on the road. I'm always checking mirrors. I'm a pretty cognizant driver. I drive very defensively. I do leave nice stopping gaps. So if someone behind me is not going to stop in time, typically, unless someone cuts me off or does something that's completely unexpected, I've got room not only to get me stopped, but to give the guy behind me room to not hit me. So, guy behind me stops plenty short, didn't get close to hitting me, he had plenty of room still, but he got mad because he thought I brake checked him because he wasn't paying attention to the car in front of him, or in front of me. So, we drive down the road about another mile or so, and this guy's like running right up on my bumper, flipping me off, flashing his high beams at me. Then we get into this gridlock traffic that I was talking about a minute ago, and he goes to get out of his car, and I had been keeping an eye on him, and so I kind of figured, hey, this guy's kind of road ragey. and he's pissed off at me because he thinks I'm up here brake checking him. And so I reached to the area where I had my trusty sidearm located, and I had my hand on it ready to draw it if he started walking up to the vehicle, because I had spent 10.5 hours at this point in the day in a factory at 95 to 100 degrees. I have my wife in the vehicle with me, and I also have one of my daughters in the car. She wanted to ride up with her mother to pick me up. Didn't bother me a bit. But I was going, and I had my window cracked. Guy come up, I was going to say, sir, I'm going to say this exactly one time. You need to go right back to your vehicle, get in, leave me alone. I wasn't brake checking you. Dude in front of me was weaving all over the road. There was oncoming traffic. If he hit that person, I wanted to have room to stop. I'm not going to fist fight someone in the side of a road after I've spent 10 hours beating myself up. So, kind of an interesting story, I thought anyway. As soon as my wife seen me going for that, she's like, what are you doing? Then she looked in the mirror and went, oh. So, yeah. And that's what I would have done, and I told her that's what I was going to do after the fact. You know, I'm not explaining it to her as the guy's getting ready to get out and walk up to me. He ended up, thankfully, opening the door, like getting halfway out of his truck, and then got back in for some reason, sat behind me steaming for like 20 minutes, and then turned around, and I ended up turning around and going back and finding another route home. But, yeah. So, I wasn't going to fight the guy. And unless he tried to do something real stupid, that's all I was going to do. Defensive use of firearms typically don't require discharge. Folks, that's what I got for today. Thanks for tuning in on this one. Catch y'all next time. I got another video I'm getting ready to record coming right up.